All right, welcome to Monday's lesson. Going over the warm-up, we got a little bit of notes and then a little bit of practice at the end. So number one, from your warm-up, if 1/3 gallons of wax covers 1/9 of a hardwood floor, how many gallons of wax for the entire floor? Right here we have our given ratio and then what we're trying to find. So the first up is a ticket, gallons of wax to hardwood floors. We're comparing 1/3 of a gallon of wax makes 1/9 of the hardwood floor, and then we want to see how many gallons for one floor. We'll cross multiply. We get 1/9 x equals 1/3. Isolate x by dividing by 1/9. Off to the side, the real division problem is 1/3 divided by 1/9. Keep change flip. You should get 9/3. 9/3 easily reduced to 3 because 9 divided by 3 is 3. Number two, determine the distance around this figure. Okay, well, I know a couple of things. I have some missing sides. The top is 30, so the bottom is 30. The right is 15, the left is 15. Now let's see how we can use that information to solve. Well, I know that if I travel from here across, I've gone 30 yards. If I go across the bottom, I've gone another 30 yards. Well, the part that I actually got to figure out is the distance around the outside curves here. Well, that's circumference. Anytime we're finding the distance around a circle, we're talking circumference. Well, if I think about it, I just combine these two halves to make one whole. That 15 clearly goes straight through my circle, so it's the diameter. The radius is half as big, but we're not going to use this in that problem. That would be for area. I know my circumference formula is c equals pi times the diameter, so c equals pi times 15 gives me approximately 47. Now that's my missing distance. These two half circles combined has a total distance of 47, so I could say 30 plus the curves, 47, gives me a final total of 107, really close to answer choice B. Number three, another ticket problem, unit rate using no calculator. We're comparing bags of cherries to dollars. Well, I know that dollars are more important than the cherries, so it's dollars over the pounds. $9.45 divided by 5. It really ends up being a long division problem. Even if you're not the best at long division, try to work it out as far as you can. 5 goes into 9 one time. Well, that's not going to help me because that only eliminates B and D. Then you have to think to yourself, well, how many times does 9 go into 44? Count by 5s. It goes in about 8 times. Technically, I could stop right there because the only answer that has 1.8 is answer choice A. But on the board, all the correct work just in case you forgot your steps to long division. And then number 4, I have the mean and the median already up there. Hopefully you made your list, calculated the mean and the median. So the mean is 153, or the average. The median, the middle number, well, since there was 2 middles, we had to add and divide, but the calculator does that for us, 150.5. This week, we're going to be reviewing algebra stuff. So again, a little checklist. Make sure that you've completed your warm-up on the warm-up paper. This paper contains both your notes, and then you'll finish the bit.ly at the end. So right underneath that, I have an example. We're going to be combining some like terms. Remember, like terms mean that variables with the same variable go together or constant numbers will go together. Again, use some sort of system to help code in your answers to make the math easy. So here, I have a negative 4x. I know it's negative because that negative sign in front of the 4x. I have a positive 7x. Again, I know that because of that plus sign in front of 7x. And I also have a negative 3x, again, because of that negative sign. I have a negative 3a and a negative 2a. Well, from there, we can pick up the calculator and just follow the symbols. Negative 4 plus 7 is positive 3. 3 minus 3 is actually 0. Well, 0x, I don't have to write that because if 0 is there, there's nothing really there. So really, these 3 terms ended up canceling each other out. From there, we have negative 3a minus 2a. Well, negative minus is negative 5a. So this answer would just be just negative 5a. So again, using some sort of coding system, whether it's boxes, circles, squiggly lines, triangles, anything to make these problems much easier on you. Okay? Below, I have a couple for you to try, so I would pause the video, take about 2 minutes, and try these on your own. When you're ready, here we go. So first one, again, I have a negative 4a and I have a positive 3a. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1a. Now that I do have to write as negative a or negative 1a. The rest, again, I have 3b's, so negative 6 minus 5 is negative 11, and negative 11 plus 5 is back to negative 6. Again, you could have negative 6 minus a or negative a minus 6b. Second one, don't let the decimals trick you up. Still using a calculator as long as you code them in correctly. 3.4x plus 5.2x. Well, that's 8.6x. And then I have negative 5.2 5.2a, and negative or minus 12.3. Again, negative 5.2 minus 12.3 is going to say negative 17.5a. Again, as long as you're negative 17.5a or positive 8.6x. And last one, we have a positive 6a minus 12a plus 12a. 6 minus 12 is negative 6. Negative 6 plus 10 is positive 4a. And then right here are my b's. Negative 15 minus 5.5 is going to be negative 20.5b. Again, as long as your 20.5b is negative and your 4a is positive, you have the same exact answer. They can be written either way. So again, take a couple seconds to make sure you have those three copied in your notes. All right, from there, a little bit of distributing and combining. I'll model a couple and then we'll get into trying some more on your own. So again, anytime I have an outside number with parentheses right next to each other, that means multiply. When I see no symbol, it's usually multiply. So I'm going to over under, but I have a second set of parentheses with another coefficient on the outside. So again, I'm going to multiply over under again. First one, 3 times 1x is 3x. 3 times negative 2. It's really important that you're seeing that 2 as a negative 2 because that makes negative 6. Positive 3 times x, positive 3x. Positive 3 times negative 4. Again, that negative or minus sign lets me know what I'm multiplying. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. From there, now we're right back to where we were on the last slide, combined like terms. I have 3x plus 3x. I really have 6x. Negative 6 minus 12, negative 18. So the final answer would be 6x minus 18 or negative 18 plus 6x. Second example I have here, again, being careful with your negatives and your decimals, or fractions in this case. Negative 1/2 times 3 is negative 1 and 1/2. I'm going to change them to decimals just to make my life a little bit easier. Negative 1.5. The under, negative 1/2 times negative 2. Again, I have to see this as a negative 2. Well, half of negative 2 is positive 1. And then this, well, there's a negative all by itself. Well, I have to distribute that somehow. Well, I got to think, when I see a negative by itself, what's it worth? It's worth negative 1. So if it helps you, put a little 1 in front of the negative in the parentheses to help you multiply. Negative 1 times 2, negative 2. Negative 1 times positive 4 is negative 4. When you get to this step, you can actually put that straight in the calculator and get the answer right away. Negative 1.5 plus 1 is negative 1/2. Negative 1/2 minus 2 is negative 2.5. Negative 2.5 minus 4 is negative 6.5 or negative 6 1/2. Try these next two on your own. Pause the video for a second, see what you get, and unpause when you're ready. All right, first example. Again, over, under, and then combine. 4 times 2, 8x. 4 times negative 3y is negative 12y. Negative 1 times 2x is negative 2x. Negative 1 times 5y is negative 5y. From there, I have 8 minus 2. I really have 6x. And then I have a negative 12 minus 5 is negative 17y. And last example, again, the decimal, no big deal. You have a calculator to help you out. 0.75 times 8 is 6x. 0.75 times 10 is 7.5. These I'm just dropping down because they're not part of the parenthesis. And then from there, I have a 6x minus 2x minus 2.5x. Gives me a final total of 6.5x. And since there was nothing to combine with positive 7.5y, that just drops down into the answer. Okay, again, make sure you got good notes. These will really help you out when you get to today's classwork. All right, below, you have what's called a complex expression. It's only complex because it involves both variables and constant numbers. Well, this right here doesn't have any variables, so it actually makes the problem real easy. So really, in a calculator, all you have to do is 1/2 parentheses 6 to the second power. Remember the squared button. I'll bring a calculator close to you. Your squared button, that button right above unit, okay, is the button that we'll use, the square number. Plus 9 divided by 3 minus 12, close parentheses, plus 4. I would put that in your calculator. Make sure you know how. If you need help, raise your hand, and we'll help you out with that. But you put that in a calculator, you press enter, and it's basically telling you the answer is going to be 17.5. So there's really nothing to do this problem. It's really a technology problem. Just know how to put it in the calculator. Now, we will take this one step farther. Same exact. This part in red is what we just found. We already know that has a value of 17.5. The only difference in this question is they actually threw some variables in there. Well, the calculator won't do the variables for us, so we got to recognize, well, there's a little bit of work that I have to do myself. 6 minus 2 is positive 4, and again, we already knew that this whole thing in red translates to 17.5. So when they ask us to simplify this expression, we're just, again, combining what we can and letting the calculator take care of the rest. So, again, this one down below, I will show you. So, again, well, there's some x's and some constant numbers. Well, the first thing I need to do is I'm going to have to over-under to find out what this expression is. Once I have it to where there's no more parentheses and the x's are by themselves and the numbers are by themselves, then I can pick up the calculator to help me. So if I distribute 0.75 times 9 is 6.75x. 0.75 times negative 12 is negative 9. Everything else I just dropped down for now. But once I got to this part, well, I know that I can do 6.75x minus 4x in a calculator, and then everything that I put in these green boxes is how you'd have to figure out the rest with the calculator. So it would be negative 9 plus 4.5 squared to the second power minus 4.5. And if you put that all in a calculator, you're going to end up getting 2.75x plus 6.75 from those. Again, I would try to pause the video and see how you do with this. Again, think about what can I do before I got to put in a calculator, and then what do I have afterwards. Pause the video, unpause when you're ready. All right, here, again, I do have some x terms outside the parentheses. So again, negative 3 minus 2, well, that's negative 5x. This entire thing goes in a calculator. So negative 2 parentheses 3 to the third power times 3 divided by 9 plus 2, close the parentheses. You press enter, you already know that you have negative 5x, and then everything that's underneath that green line or above that green line is going to be negative 22. Okay, that ends today's notes. Down below you have a bit.ly, capital G's, grade 7, capital D, 1. When you're done your bit.ly and everything, raise your hand, and that'll conclude today's lesson.